Hey everybody, day 143. We're going to be in the city today. You never know where I'm going to be. Okay. Get you guys up here, up and running. So we're going to read in Numbers 26, 1 Corinthians 10, and Psalm 143. Since we're on day 143. And Psalm goes right along with it. Of course, when we're done with Psalm, then we'll have to see where we end up. Oh, don't make me do that. Chat overlay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I may or may not see your chats today because I didn't check all that out before. So I'm not going to worry about it. How's that? Okay. Anyway. I'm just going to read. Okay, guys. Numbers chapter 26. I'm going to read out of the Living Bible. We have our... hey, Muriel, how are you? I see you're on here. Yep, I see you. I really do. I don't see you, but I see your name. We have our Bible school banquet tonight. So we have a Bible school right here at our church here in Coshocton. And tonight, everyone is graduating whatever year. There's first-year students, there's second-year students. And so that's what's going on tonight. So I figured I better get on here now and do this. Okay? So I hope all of you are having a great day, great weekend. Let me know where you're watching from. And we can get started here. I'm going to get started anyway. How's that? All right. Numbers 26. And like I said, I'm reading out of the Living Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. We're in Numbers. Fourth book in the Old Testament. Numbers chapter 26. Okay. They're going to count the people again. I think it's been like 36 years since, maybe 38 years. 38 years since the last census. And so they're going to count everybody again. And that's what we're reading about today. I know some of this stuff seems boring, but you never know. Right in the middle of it, you know, you might learn something. So just we're going to try to get through it, you know. So they would count the people because they were going to divide the land. So the biggest tribes got the most land and so forth, you know. So, and they counted the ones that were 20 years old and older, over 20 years old. Of course, you know, to serve in the tabernacle was, 30 to 50 years old. All right. Let's see what we got here. Chapter 26 of Numbers. After the plague had ended, Jehovah said to Moses and to Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, take a census of all the men of Israel who are 20 years old age or older, to find out how many of each tribe and clan are able to go to war. So Moses and Eleazar issued census instructions to the leaders of Israel. The entire nation was camped in the plains of Moab, beside the Jordan River, opposite Jericho. Here are the results of the census. The tribe of Reuben, 43,730. Reuben was Israel's oldest son. In this tribe were the following clans, named after Reuben's sons. The Hanakites, named after their ancestor Hanak. The Peluites, named after their ancestor Palu. In the subclan of Eliab, who was one of the sons of Palu, were the families of Nemuel, Abiram, and Dathan. This Dathan and Abiram were the two leaders who conspired with Korah against Moses and Aaron, and in fact challenged the very authority of God. But the earth opened and swallowed them, and 250 men were destroyed by fire from the Lord that day, as a warning to the entire nation. The Hezronites, named after their ancestor Hezron. The Carmites, named after their ancestor Carmi. the tribe of Simeon. Okay, that was the tribe of Reuben. The tribe of Simeon, there was 22,200. In this tribe were the following clans founded by Simeon's sons. The Nimulites, named after their ancestor Nimul. The Jaminites, named after their ancestor Jamin. The Jachanites, named after their ancestor Jachin. The Zerahites, named after their ancestor Zerah. The Shaulites, named after their ancestor Shau. The tribe of Gad, 40,500. In this tribe were the following clans founded by the sons of Gad. The Zephanites, named after their ancestor Zephan. The Haggites, named after their ancestor Haggai. The Shunites, named after their ancestor Shuni. The Oznites, named after their ancestor Ozni. The Erites, named after their ancestor Eri. The Arites, named after their ancestor Eri. The Arelites, named after their ancestor Areli. Don't stone me if I get these names wrong, okay? The tribe of Judah, 76,500. In this tribe were the following clans named after the sons of Judah, but not including and Onan, who died in the land of Canaan. The Shelonites, named after their ancestor Shelah. The Perizzites, named after their ancestor Perez. The Zerahites, named after their ancestor Zerah. This census also included the subclans of Perez. The Hezronites, named after their ancestor Hezron. The Hamulites, named after their ancestor Hamul. The tribe of Issachar, 64,300. In this tribe were the following clans named after the sons of Issachar. The Tolites, named after their ancestor Tola. The Punites, named after their ancestor Puva. The Jashubites, named after their ancestor Jashub. The Shimronites, named after their ancestor Shimron. The tribe of Zebulun, 60,500. In this tribe were the following clans named after the sons of Zebulun. The Seredites, named after their ancestor Sered. The Elonites, named after their ancestor Elon. The Jaelites, named after their ancestor Jael. The tribe of Joseph, 32,500 in the half-tribe of Ephraim, and 52,700 in the half-tribe of Manasseh. In the half-tribe of Manasseh was the clan of Macharites, named after their ancestor Machir. The subclan of the Macharites was the Gileadites, named after their ancestor Gilead. The tribes of the Gileadites, the Jezerites, named after their ancestor Jezer. The Helikites, named after their ancestor Helik. The Azraelites, named after their ancestor Azrael. The Shechemites, named after their ancestor Shechem. The Shemdamites, named after their ancestor Shemida. The Hephramites, named after their ancestor Hephner. Hephner's son Zeleohad had no sons. Here are the names of his daughters: Mela, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, Tisra. The 32,500 registered in the half-tribe of Ephraim included the following clans named after the sons of Ephraim. The Shulahites, named after the ancestor Shula, Bula, I don't know. Start speaking in tongues here in a minute. A subclan of the Shulahites was the Aaronites, named after their ancestor Aaron, a son of Shulahath. The Becherites, named after their ancestor Becher. The Taanites, named after their ancestor Taan. The tribe of Benjamin, 45,600. In this tribe were the following clans named after the sons of Benjamin. The Belalites, named after their ancestor Bela. Subclans named after sons of Bela were the Ardites, named after their ancestor Ard. The Naamites, named after their ancestor Naaman. The Ashbelites, named after their ancestor Ashbel. The Ararites, named after their ancestor Aram. The Shuaphites, named after their ancestor Shufam. The Hufanites, named after their ancestor Hufam. The tribe of Dan, 64,400. In this tribe was the clan of the Shuamites, named after Shuam, the son of Dan. The tribe of Asher, 53,400. In this tribe were the following clans named after the sons of Asher. The Imnites, named after their ancestor Imnah. The Ishvites, named after their ancestor Ishvi. The Beerites, named after their ancestor Beriah. Subclans named after the sons of Beriah were the Heberites, named after their ancestor Heber. The Malachites, named after their ancestor Malchiel. Asher also had a daughter named Sirah. The tribe of Naphtali, 45,400. In this tribe were the following clans, named after the sons of Naphtali. The Jazalites, named after their ancestor Jezeel. The Gunites, named after their ancestor Guni. The Jezerites, named after their ancestor Jezer. The Shillemites, named after their ancestor Shillem. So the total number of the men of draft age throughout Israel was 601,730. Thank God that's almost over, I think. Then the Lord told Moses to divide the land among the tribes in proportion to their population, as indicated by the census. The larger tribes to be given more land, the smaller tribes less lands. All right, so this had been 38 years since the great census in Numbers chapter 1. And during that time, every Israelite man and woman over 20 years of age, except Caleb, Joshua, and Moses, had died. Remember, that generation had to die out because the Lord was not going to let them enter the promised land because of all their mumbling, grumbling, complaining, and bad reports. Okay? So, let the representatives of the larger tribe, we're in Numbers chapter 26, in case you just tuned in, verse 55. Let the representatives of the larger tribes have a lottery, drawing for the larger sections, the Lord instructed, and let the smaller tribes draw for the smaller sections. These are the clans of the Levites numbered in the census. The Gershonites, named after their ancestor Gershon. The Kohathites, named after their ancestor Kohath. The Merarites, named after their ancestor Merari. These are the families of the tribe of Levi. The Libnites, the Hebronites, the Malites, the Mushites, and the Korathites. While Levi was in Egypt, a daughter, Jochebed, was born to him, and she became the wife of Amram, son of Kohath. They were the parents of Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. To Aaron were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they offered unauthorized incense or strange fire before the Lord. The total number of Levites in the census was 23,000, counting all the males a month old and upward. But the Levites were not included in the total census figure of the people of Israel, for the Levites were given no land when it was divided among the tribes. So these are the census figures as prepared by Moses and Eleazar the priest in the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River across from Jericho. Not one person in this entire census had been counted in the previous census taken in the wilderness of Sinai. For all who had been counted then had died, as the Lord had decreed when he said of them, "They shall die in the wilderness." The only exceptions were Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. And that is Numbers 26. So now we can move on to Psalm 143. Psalm is right after the book of Job. Psalm 143. Since we're on day 143, what are y'all doing this fine day? Any good plans for anybody? Oh boy. Okay, 143. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Answer my plea because you are faithful to your promises. Don't bring me to trial, for as compared with you, no one is perfect. My enemies chased and caught me. They have knocked me to the ground. They forced me to live in the darkness like those in the grave. I'm losing all hope. I am paralyzed with fear. I remember the glorious miracles you did in days of long ago. I reach out for you. I thirst for you as parched land thirsts for rain. Come quickly, Lord, and answer me, for my depression deepens. Don't turn away from me, or I shall die. Let me see your kindness to me in the morning, for I am trusting you. Show me where to walk, for my prayer is sincere. Save me from my enemies, O Lord. I run to you to hide me. Help me to do your will, for you are my God. Lead me in good paths, for your spirit is good. Lord, saving me will bring glory to your name. Bring me out of all this trouble because you are true to your promises. And because you are loving and kind to me, cut off all my enemies and destroy those who are trying to harm me, for I am your servant. That's Psalm 143. Let's go over to the New Testament now, to 1 Corinthians. We've read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans. 1 Corinthians is where we're at now. And we are on chapter 10 in 1 Corinthians. Don't go to 2 Corinthians, go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Okay. For we must never forget, dear brothers, what happened to our people in the wilderness long ago. God guided them by sending a cloud that moved along ahead of them, and he brought them all safely through the waters of the Red Sea. This might be called their baptism, baptized both in sea and cloud, as followers of Moses, their commitment to him as their leader. And by a miracle, God sent them to food to eat and water to drink there in the desert. They drank the water that Christ gave them. He was there with them as a mighty rock of spiritual refreshment. He's our rock. He's the rock. Yet after all this, most of them did not obey God, and he destroyed them in the wilderness. And that's what we're reading now in the Old Testament. This is going right along with this. From this lesson, we are warned that we must not desire evil things as they did, nor worship idols as they did. The scriptures tell us the people sat down to eat and drink and then got up to dance in worship of the golden calf. Remember when Moses went up on the mountain and God gave him the 10 Commandments, when he came back down after 40 days, what happened? They had talked Aaron into carving a golden calf for them to worship because they wanted something to worship. Oh boy. And God said, thou shalt have no other gods before me, right? No different today. People, hey Patty, how are you? And Muriel is on here. People, whatever you would put before God is your idol. People have idols of silver and gold. They have idols of their home. They have idols of their boat, their lake house that they have to go to every weekend instead of going to church, Well, Linda, that's the only time I have to work through the week, so the only time I can go to the lake house is on Sundays, is on the weekend. Well, that's fine as long as you find a church near your lake house and go in and make God a priority on Sunday morning. It's imperative. If you are a born-again believer and you say that you love God, you will be in church on Sunday morning. It's just the way it is. Good. Good afternoon to you too, Patty. We have our Bible school banquet tonight. And so I had to get on here now and do this. And I've been out of town for a couple days. Went down to visit my kids down in the D.C. area. And so my oldest granddaughter had her recital this weekend, Thursday. So I went down there to spend some time. Just a quick trip down there and back because I had to get back for the Bible school banquet tonight. Church tomorrow. But anything people put above God is an idol to them. It's no different. So people need to know that God is a priority in your life. Don't have the birthday party at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock on Sunday morning because I'm going to be at church. But if you have it in the afternoon, I'd love to be there. And after you stand your ground, well, they can't change it. Well, then don't go. Seriously. Even if you put your family ahead of God, that's an idol. It's an idol. It's my family, though, Linda. I don't care. God should be number one priority in your life, even above your family. So, not ministry above your family. God, family, then ministry. Some people put their ministry above their family, and that's not okay. That's not okay. But God should be above your family. If your family they don't go to church and they're trying to get you to, Satan will use your family to try to get you to miss church or to put them above God, and that's not okay. Your family need to know that you are a born-again believer and you're proud of it, and he is number one in your life. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. Like my family, they don't even invite me to things if it's on a Sunday morning, but they usually have it when I can be there anyway. So, because they know I go to church on Sunday morning. Okay. Too bad you even got to say things like this, but some people don't know or don't care. So from this lesson, we are warned that we must... Okay, I just read that. Okay, verse 8. Another lesson for us is what happened when some of them sinned with other men's wives, and 23,000 fell dead in one day. Sometimes people will commit adultery or they'll do something that God ultimately, it's wrong. And they know it's wrong, but because they got away with it or seemingly got away with it, they think it's okay. But listen, there's going to come a day of judgment when you're going to answer for your life. And if you get away with it seemingly on this earth, it ain't going to happen, man. You're going to be judged for your life. So best to keep clean hands and a pure heart before God. Oh, boy. And don't try the Lord's patience. They did and died from snake bites. And don't murmur against God and his dealings with you, as some of them did, for that is why God sent his angel to destroy them. All these things happened to them as examples, as object lessons to us, to warn us against doing the same things. They were written down so that we could read about them and learn from them in these last days as the world nears its end. So be careful. If you are thinking, oh, I would never behave like that, let this be a warning to you. For you too may fall into sin. What about the angels? I mean, when Lucifer sinned in heaven, he took a third of the angels with him, and they were in heaven. So take heed when you think you stand, lest you fall. The Bible says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And if you think that you would never be tempted enough to fall into sin, you better be careful. When you start thinking like that, that's probably when you're going to fall. So don't ever think more highly of yourself than you ought. But we really need to work out our own salvation. We need to daily judge our motives and our heart and keep it pure before God. But remember this, the wrong desires that come into your life aren't anything new and different. Many others have faced exactly the same problems before you, and no temptation is irresistible. You can trust God to keep the temptation from becoming so strong that you can't stand up against it. For he has promised this and will do what he says. He will show you how to escape temptation's power so that you can bear up patiently against it. Remember, he said he would not allow more on you than you can bear without giving you a way out. People have looked at that and they use it to say, oh, God won't allow more trouble on you than what you can bear. That's not what that is talking about. It's talking about temptation, not trials and trouble. You're going to have troubles. Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer because I've overcome the world. So this is talking about temptation. So people take things and use it in the wrong context. You got to read the whole thing. So dear brothers, carefully avoid idol worship of every kind. You are intelligent people. Look now and see for yourselves whether what I'm about to say is true. When we ask the Lord's blessing upon our drinking from the cup of wine at the Lord's table, communion, this means, doesn't it, that all who drink it are sharing together the blessing of Christ's blood? And when we break off pieces of the bread from the loaf to eat there together, this shows that we are sharing together in the benefits of his body. No matter how many of us there are, we all eat from the same loaf, showing that we are all parts of the one body of Christ. And the Jewish people, all who eat the sacrifices, are united by that act. What am I trying to say? Am I saying that the idols to whom the heathen bring sacrifices are really alive and are real gods, and that these sacrifices are of some value? No, not at all. What I am saying is that those who offer food to these idols are united together in sacrificing to demons, certainly not to God. And I don't want any of you to be partners with demons when you eat the same food, along with the heathen that has been offered to these idols. You cannot drink from the cup at the Lord's table and at Satan's table too. You cannot eat bread both at the Lord's table and at Satan's table. What? Are you tempting the Lord to be angry with you? Are you stronger than he is? You are certainly free to eat food offered to idols if you want to. It's not against God's laws to eat such meat, but that doesn't mean that you should go ahead and do it. It may be perfectly legal, but it may not be best and helpful. Don't think only of yourself. Try to think of the other fellow too, and what is best for him. Here's what you should do. Take any meat you want that is sold at the market. Don't ask whether or not it was offered to idols, lest the answer hurt your conscience. For the earth and every good thing in it belongs to the Lord and is yours to enjoy. If someone who isn't a Christian asks you out to dinner, go ahead. Accept the invitation if you want to. Eat whatever is on the table and don't ask any questions about it. Then you won't know whether or not it has been used as a sacrifice to idols, because it doesn't matter, because idols mean nothing to us, But to these people that worship idols, it does mean something. And you won't risk having a bad conscience over eating it. But if someone warns you that this meat has been offered to idols, then don't eat it for the sake of the man who told you and of his conscience. In this case, his feeling about it is the important thing, not yours. But why, you may ask, must I be guided and limited by what someone else thinks? If I can thank God for the food and enjoy it, why let someone spoil everything just because he thinks I'm wrong? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because you must do everything for the glory of God, even your eating and drinking. So don't be a stumbling block to anyone, whether they are Jews or Gentiles or Christians. That is the plan I follow too. I try to please everyone in everything I do, not doing what I like or what is best for me, but what is best for them, so that they may be saved. All right, so we got to think about other people and getting people saved. All right, guys, that's day 143 of the daily Bible reading. And so I know people were busy this weekend and got all kinds of stuff going on, graduation parties and all that good stuff. So, all right, well, I will see you on here tomorrow with day 144. I should be here tomorrow, no problems, nothing going on that would stop that. So have a good rest of your day and keep reading, and I'll see you on here tomorrow. God bless you, and I will see you tomorrow.